Welcome. Today is Thunder Thursday, December 29th, 2022. Today we're going to discuss why scientists, physicists, and astrophysicists transform themselves from evolutionists, okay? Turns out that like 99% of scientists and physicists are evolutionists. They believe that we evolved. We evolved from phospholipids and protein chains in our Earth's ocean, and then plankton, single-cell plants form, then single-cell animals form that ate the plants, and then from the amoebas, we had fish. The fish made reptiles that came on the ocean, and eventually we had mammals, and eventually we have human beings, okay? So, 10 years ago, it was estimated that 50% of the U.S. population was evolutionist and 50% was creationist, okay? In the sense of the Judeo-Christian creation story that God made everything visible and invisible in 6 days, and then he rested, okay? I think he rested after he made woman. So if you ask most college graduates and like 99% of the scientists and physicists of the world, did we evolve from amoebas? They're going to say yes, human beings evolved from amoebas. Yes, they're going to say yes, human beings evolved from amoebas over 4 billion years. Okay, we did it. Here we are. We evolved from amoebas. Okay, but when in the 20th century, which would be the 1900s, when protons and neutrons and electrons were discovered, and when atoms were broken down to protons, neutrons, and then more discoveries with chemical reactions and stuff. Okay, so when we got to the subatomic level, scientists were clueless, just like human beings 20,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago. They didn't know where we came from, so they created gods in our image that made human beings. So that's the creationist view. The God made us in his image, okay? But scientists, 99.99% of scientists and physicists do not believe that we were created by God. They believe that we evolved from phospholipids, protein chains, single-cell plants, single-cell animals. We evolved to our present status, okay? But creationism 10 years ago was held by 50% of the population in the U.S., and that has declined as more people have graduated from college. So the higher your education, the less likely you are to believe in creationism. Okay, but once discoveries were made about protons, neutrons, and electrons, the physicists could not explain how those, or did not try to explain how those things could have evolved over infinite time. Okay? So instead of taking the practical approach, so they believed that the electron was the smallest particle, so they didn't look for smaller particles. But we know that there are neutrinos at 1/1,000,000th the size of the electron now. So we can measure up to 1/1,000,000th the size of the electron, the mass size. Neutrinos are given a mass of about 1/1,000,000th the size of the electron. So the people that are glorified, for discovering modern subatomic principles and stuff, didn't know that there were smaller particles than the electron. Didn't know. Now we know that there is the neutrino, and I postulate that there is a God particle 1, GP1 for sure, and I postulate that this particle is the medium of electromagnetic waves. It gives space its structure. It's a particle of mass. It's a gaseous particle of mass that can be compressed inside a neutron sac, can be compressed inside a proton sac, and inside an electron permeable sac. These sacs are permeable, and once you get enough GP1s inside and the pressure builds up, then they pulsate. So we're going to modify thermodynamics a little bit. It's not the movement. It's not the movement of atomic nuclei that causes atoms to heat up. It's the net implosion of GP1s into neutron sacs, into electron sacs, into proton sacs. These sacs are permeable, and GP1s are the physical particle that is imploded inside, and the more that's inside and the higher the pressure, the greater the pulsation. And that's how, when those atomic level pulsations and neutron level pulsations and electron level pulsations, when they harmonize, they harmonize into electromagnetic waves. So that's what gives that's what electromagnetic waves are. They're the harmonized net energy of tiny level, and it has to be. We are given that gravity grows per atom. Gravity grows per neutron. Gravity grows per electron. Now, what you are not given is that when matter heats up, it's going to generate gravity. And when matter cools, it's going to put out the dark energy that was stored when matter heats up. So gravitational force is not a free force. It's the result of matter heating up. And the only power source available throughout the universe to heat up matter is the omnidirectional cosmic microwave background radiation. It comes from every point in the sky that's not a star. Okay, if there's not a star, you're going to get a ray that is at 2.75 Kelvin, 160.3 gigahertz. Okay, now if you look at a star or galaxies at that particular spot, then you're going to get a different temperature, a different electromagnetic wave. Okay, so you say, what does this have to do with us evolving from amoebas? Okay, what? Well, it's that at the subatomic level, okay, physicists and scientists became creationists due to a lack of knowledge and understanding. Okay? So we know that you can't have more than 1 GeV of energy inside a sac. Okay? The neutron permeable sac, the proton permeable sac cannot hold more than 1 GeV of energy. That's the most you can accumulate in one place. So you can't eliminate matter. You can't have energy without matter. Our sun radiates energy, and there are, they're saying 200 billion galaxies throughout the galaxy. They reduced that from 2 trillion galaxies throughout the universe to 200 billion galaxies throughout the universe. Okay? So, and they shine. And they only shine because they have hydrogen helium stars. Okay? And they fuse together to make iron. And that's why they shine, unless you have a supermassive black hole, and then a supermassive black hole shines even brighter than the whole galaxy by compressing matter to a lower volume and extracting heat. Okay, so you can supermassive black holes can compress um, uh, matter that gets accreted. They can compress it to the density of neutronium. So the singularity at the center of a supermassive black hole is just a large ball of neutronium. Okay, like the neutronium of a neutron star, maybe a little bit denser. Okay, there's not a great further collapse. It might be collapsed. Okay. Anyway, but the only way to make something as dense as a neutron star at 100 trillion times Earth density is to remove heat from it. So the extraction of heat is what creates neutronium, and the way to view neutronium is as embryonic neutrons, okay, that were made from the compression of neutrons and protons. The electron was put back in the proton, and you get a neutron. But also in the process, other embryonic neutrinos were created. And then the way a neutron star evaporates, the way a supermassive black hole evaporates once it stops accreting, is by warming up from the CBR and pumping up those embryonic neutrons to neutrons. And then where you have one solar mass of embryonic neutrons, you may have 22 solar masses of of hydrogen, or 29 solar masses. I don't know what the exact ratio is. Is it 13? Is it 18? Is it 22? Is it 29? All we know is that once you input GP1s inside the embryonic neutrons in neutronium, you're going to end up with pristine neutron. That's going to decay to a pristine hydrogen. Okay, that is how neutrons and protons and electrons are minted. They're minted as neutrons, embryonic neutrons that get pumped up by the CMBR, by net imploding GP1s. Once you warm them up to absolute zero, then you get a pristine new hydrogen atom. So let's go to the creationist. So there's this singularity, okay, that is impossible because there's no matter there. You can't have pure energy. The only sac that is big enough to hold the energy in the cosmic microwave background radiation is the universe sac itself. And how the CMBR is created is all the light sources in the universe. They bump infinite times from the edges of the universe, and they homogenize to one CMBR radiation. So that's why we have omnidirectional CMBR reflections from the edges of the universe. That's the only way possible. There's no way a singularity can do it. If there was a singularity, it would be the brightest spot in the sky. But there is no brightest spot in the sky. The only bright spots are stars and galaxies and superclusters and walls and blazars and active galactic nuclei. I'm losing my voice. I'm an evolutionist. I evolve neutrinos. I evolve electrons. I evolve protons. I evolve neutrons. I evolve them from God particle ones. Okay? Now, you can't make something out of nothing. Okay? So you can believe the physicists that pull protons and antiprotons out of vacuum, pull them out of vacuum, then they say, well, they're going to immediately annihilate each other. So we don't know how come we got so much matter in the universe. Okay, and then they have to tweak their postulate a little bit, and they say, well, in the early universe, out of every million proton and antiproton pairs pulled out of vacuum by the energy from this absurd, impossible singularity. Okay? So the evolutionist physicists have now become creationists. Okay? Instead of God making everything visible and invisible, they have a fictitious, absurd singularity making everything visible and invisible, and doesn't even make it in our image. So on the one hand, paradoxically, physicists are evolutionists. They say we evolved from atomic level chemical interactions in our oceans, from phospholipids, from protein chains, from amoebas. We evolved from amoebas. They are firm on that. But when they don't know at the subatomic level, they say the singularity created protons and neutrons. And that's how come we have so much mass. And then after the singularity created all these hydrogen atoms and this helium, 25%, then we got stars. But then they don't know how supermassive black holes form. They don't know that a larger supermassive black hole is older than a smaller one. They don't put two and two together. I'm losing my voice. We'll take up this again tomorrow. Okay, bye for Thunder Thursday, December 29th, 2022. Thank you so much for watching.